Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm your host, the Fantasy Clown, along with my co-host, JDMClown. Welcome, Justin. Geez, it's been week eight in the books.
Yeah, there was kind of a crazy week. Of course, we had the one big injury to a quarterback, Kirk Cousins, tore his Achilles this past week. So, I mean, another one hit the dust, and we'll see who can come on out on top. We have quite a few rookies quarterbacks taking over this week as well.
Yeah, I saw one of my leagues. I have five taxi squad positions, and four of the five are rookie quarterbacks that are actually going to start this week. So it's just kind of an ironic thing. I think the highest draft position was fourth round rookie pick, like of these guys. Like I must have just like dominated the fourth and fifth round of the rookie pick, and I have four dudes that are all going to start this week. Jared Hall, Clayton Tune, who's the guy in Raidersville? O'Connell, and then Badgett. So yeah, those are four guys that are just like, I mean, I wouldn't believe it if I guessed it at the beginning of the year that we'd say, okay, yeah, week 9 they're all going to start. Like I would have been like, yeah, right, okay, that's even. I don't as many quarterback injuries as I always say there are. I'm not sure if I've ever seen four not of the top 5 rookie guys just all starting on the 1 week. Like I don't remember that. I actually am not sure if all 4 guys that I would have drafted in that round made the team in years past. Like you usually pick guys that get cut from the 53. And I end up cutting. But yeah, this year is kind of an anomaly to that. So yeah, crazy. Definitely crazy. How are your teams looking? Are you?
I got a few redrafts, so looking very good. 6-2 and 1, 7-1 and a couple. So we'll see.
Perfect. I have an 0-8 redraft team. I guess I just don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I was looking at that. I'm like, how can I have an 0-8 redraft team? It's actually in that format that you suggested where we have it's a best ball, but there is waiver wire moves and trades, and I just haven't hit my stride with it. Like I think I'm just not. I'm not working the format right. Like I feel like it's a user error. It's definitely me not being a good player in the environment. I have to get used to the way it works. I think it's a challenge. I'm just not participating well in the challenge. Like I'm not. Waiver wire adding, and I see all the time. I'm like, oh, why wasn't I picking up that guy? I keep saying that to myself every time. Like,
yeah.
How did that guy miss? How did I miss that? And it just, I don't know. It's just I haven't hit my cadence, I guess. So anyway, jumping into it, we always like to start with DraftKings. So I guess we'll start with that, and I'll let you take it away with DraftKings.
Yeah, so the Pac fan took down the tournament this week with kind of an interesting lineup. He paid down for a quarterback. He took Garner Minshew he scored 15.18 points. Raheem Mostert at running back with 10.6. Chuba Hubbard with 7.4. And this is where he kind of built his team at the wide receiver position. Jamar Chase, 28.2. A.J. Brown, 36. Michael Pittman, 18. Taysom Hill, tight end, 22.46. Trey McBride and his flex with 25.5 points. And they went with Minnesota defense and got him 10 points this past week.
Yeah, I guess I actually finished second, so I guess I had a 141.76, but I feel like I'm way behind that leader at 173.98. So he kind of ran away with it. I mean, I think this week.
Yeah, he crushed it this week.
So then looking at D Guz came in third place, and I think if I remember right, the Pac fan won 2 weeks in a row. I think he won last week as well. So
Mm-hmm.
He's come back to back on us and taking this tournament down 2 weeks in a row with a nice strong score. This week, in Beat the Clown, which is the head-to-heads that I do, I still had that 141.76, but I actually got 4 wins this week. So 4 of the 5, I was able to beat D-Guz, Rupert 13, W. O'Brien, and Rick Topher. So that kind of made coming in second and then hitting 4 of 5. It was pretty good to get those under my belt and get 4 wins. So happy about that. However, I did play the Pac-Fan head-to-head. And kind of interestingly enough, he had a different lineup that he played against me than what he entered in the tournament. And that lineup was a 148.52 lineup. So it wasn't quite as strong as the one he entered in the tournament, but it would have been good enough to take it down. So it didn't really matter. So it'll be interesting to see. I guess I should have checked and saw what the differences were there. But yeah, he had a different lineup as far as that goes. So just an encouragement. I mean, jump in, get in part of the tournament, and then when you get in the tournament, then you have a shot at playing in one of the 5 Beat the Clown head-to-heads as well. So kind of have that as a five people get to jump in and come at me each week. So looking to keep building that out and give away $50 a week is the plan, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Back
Well,
to being
jump
donation.
into the leagues. We'll let you get started with going through the leagues, Justin. And
Absolutely. Let's start with our redraft leagues. The best ball head-to-head Group A, the Camber with a 309.3 points this week.
Geez, I see that the Camera, has this is, I guess, the first time actually that the Camera came in first place, and just kind of looking at where he is statistically, it looks like 3 down at the 6th spot, with a 5-3 record. So, kind of getting on the verge of the playoffs right there. But yeah, it's right where it is there. I think actually that might be the wrong standings that are coming up on the board. So that looks like the best ball number 1 standings. So if we get the best ball A's coming up, that'll be anyway. I'll let you jump into B, and if we get those A's to come up, we'll post those.
Alrighty, so we got the best ball head-to-head Group B, Philo Rupert with a 376.73.
Yeah, and Philip Rooker also, it's his first time, kind of in this top spot. So, it's kind of cool to have some new people in the top spot, this week as well. And the top 6 teams will make the playoffs in this format.
Excellent. So the redraft 1, you had the top score this week, Fantasy Clown, with 300.79 points in the redraft 1 there.
Yeah, it looks like I was actually the top scorer in week 2, week 4 as well. So this is my 3rd time kind of coming in there, but this is kind of maybe my best redraft team that I have this year, and I'm 7-1, and looks like I'm 2 games ahead of dropping out of the bye week. So pretty excited about what this team looks like. It's got a good shot at being in the bye, and looks like, Justin, you're battling to get back into the playoff run there. So you're 1 game back. So
I'm trying, definitely trying. The redraft 3, yours truly, JDM 1989 with a 281.47.
So, and likewise, you were the top scorer in week 4, week 5, and now week 8 as well. So you're a 3-time top scorer in this format, and you solidly are at the top spot here, and 1 game ahead of dropping out of the bye weeks, if you will. And then in this one, I'm actually hanging on to the 6th spot for dear life to just stay in the playoffs. So, where Strike X looks like he's coming for me pretty well with the same record. So, it's a league that I can't afford to lose. That's for sure. So I need to stay winning to stay in the playoffs.
Yeah, keep winning. That's all you can really do. Okay, so we got sorry, I'm a little getting to where the best ballpoints only, the number one league, Jack Peterson, 27 with the 288.85.
And looking at Jake Peterson, this is the first time in the top spot, or the top score. Bumskis has really, run the gamut and is still in first place. I think we saw that screenshot came up earlier, and Bumskis leading the way and almost running away with this one for sure. As we look here, 2,195 points, second place 1916, so it's almost 200, almost 300 points behind. So it's kind of a battle for second and third, really. But even that, there's a 70-point swing even to second to third place. So now fourth place is only 3 points behind. So I guess that's where we can be. And I'm way down at the bottom. So in spot 9. So really a couple hundred points off the pace. So looks like I've donated in this league.
Excellent. So the best ballpoints only number 2, the Camber, with a 352.22.
Well, and the Camber was our preseason pick, and then was the top scorer in week 2, week 6, now week 8. So really, and leading the way here. But about 80 points up on Benny Trees, so not terribly running away with it, but and then only a 5-point swing down to the third position. And kind of funny, I'm way down near the bottom here, 11th place, and I actually led the way after 1 week in this league. So how fast it can all turn. I'm down here at 11, and this time Bumsky's also. It's kind of amazing that he's the top spot in the one best ball, and now he's in the bottom spot on this best ball. So it's kind of up and down how these things go when you can't make waiver moves or trades. So it's all that drafting, I guess.
Oh yeah, you got to hit all those draft picks. Okay, so we're going swing on over to our dynasty leagues. See, Clown had 1, Jason Parlow with a 263.26.
And when I look at Jason Morrow, he was actually the top scorer in Clownheads 1 through 5 in week 1, and then also the top scorer in Clownheads 1 in week 5, and that back returning in week 8. So, really a 3-time top scorer here in Clownhead 1. And looking here at the standings, he's in the top spot. He was the returning champ. He is our returning champion. So, if he wins again, then he'd get the umpire fund here. And looks like he and Last Action Hero are, one pace to get the buys, but it's pretty tight, really. And I see you sitting in the 6th spot, Justin, so you're kind of hanging on. I'm tied with you record-wise, though, and I'm the whole way down at 9. So, that what that means to me is, it looks like, the top 9 spots are all in the record-wise, in the playoffs. So it's going to be a dogfight here the rest of the way.
Yeah. Clownheads number 2, Heifer 808 with a 251.17.
Looking here at Heifer 808, actually, this is the first time in the top spot in Clownheads 2, and just taking a peek here in the 7th spot, so again tied with the 6th spot record wise, or 5th spot as well, but out on the outside looking in for the playoffs. And I notice here Jack Powers leading the way, 1 pace to get a bye with Malahames, and Jack Powers is the returning champ. So kind of interesting how the 1 seed in this league as well is 1 pace to be a returning champion. Looks like you're down there in the 11th spot, so this one might be one that you're just kind of in a rebuild. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotcha. I think we're looking for Clownhead 3. So
Yes, for Clownhead 3, Hurricane Zion with a 291.29, and that's the high scorer for Clownheads 1 through 5.
And Hurricane Zion actually was the top scorer for Clownhead 1 through 5 in week 4 as well, and then just the top scorer in week for Clownhead 3 in week 6. So a three-time returning champ as far, or top scorer in Clownhead's 3. Looking here at the overall statistics here for Hurricane Zion, he's the number 1 seed here as we proceed on, and a whole game up over Jack Powers and JSL 111. So, one pace to get the bye there. I'm actually in the 7th spot here, so on the outside looking in, but record-wise, tied with the 5 and 6 teams as well. So, hoping to get back to the playoffs in this league.
Listen, so the Clownhead 4. Oh, my apologies. His team. Going to go over his team that he started this past week to give him that top score. Jalen Hurts with 40.11. Sam Howell with a 44.73. ETN 42.9. Barkley with a 28.3. AJ Brown 35.5. Nico Collins 8.5. Marquise Brown 15.8. Cortland Sutton 11.4. Cole Kmet 39.9. He started Gerald Everett here, which he was out by this past game, so got him 0 points there. AJ Dillon 15.2. Jeff Wilson 8.95. If you look over his depth here, doesn't really have very much depth at quarterback there. We'll see if Mitch Trubisky will play any tomorrow night. I know Kenny Pickett is supposed to start Thursday night, but Noah Brown at 10.2 does have pretty much Rondell Moore as Kyron Williams there on IR, and Jalen Woods. He doesn't have very much depth after his starting lineup there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit challenging, this week with some buys. It looks like ETN on buy. It's going to really, challenge the depth a little bit. But I did see Clayton Tune on the bench there somewhere. He had Clayton Tune, so I think that'll be a quarterback that at least will get one start here before Kyler Murray comes back, and maybe that'll help the quarterback room.
And we're going to continue on. Clownhead 4, Jason Henson, 38 with a 278.48.
Well, this is the first time we've had Jason Henson in our top spot, so it's kind of cool to, bring somebody new into the mix. Looks like he's the number 7 seed with a 4-4 record. Just kind of a shout out to producer Brad. Looks like he's hanging on to the 6th spot. This is a league where he told us he was going to win, so I guess we'll see. Now, he does have the top points of all the 4-4 teams, but Justin, looks like you're also 4-4 here, so you're on the outside looking in, but that same record. And Brad is the defending champion here, so we'll see if he can, make a run. I'm down at 2-6, so I'm surely not really a competitor in this particular league. So I guess I'm kind of waiting for next year. Apparently, I'm the easy win this in this league.
Nice. Clownhead 5, Circle the Wagons with a 284.56.
And Circle the Wagons, actually, their first time in the top spot here in Clownhead 5. So another newcomer to the list. Looks like this particular team was the winner last year. So, if they could get back to the championship and win, they would get the Empire, pot. 5 seed as we start play week 9. Looks like I am in the 7th spot, so 1 game back, and Brad is several games back in the 9th spot, and Justin, you're tied with Brad, back in the 11th spot with a 2-6 record. So it looks like you guys are the wins in this one. So
Yeah.
I hope you guys
Easy
give me
win.
those wins when I play you coming down the stretch because I need some wins here to get back in it and go get it.
I know my win won't come too easy for you there. I'm gonna give it all. So we're gonna head on over to our Clan Head 6 through 9 Dynasty Leagues. Clan Head 6, Jerry B 83 with 304.21.
So Jerry B actually was the top point getter in Clownhead 6 in week 5 as well. So returning top points, for Jerry B here. And this has got that other format where you have two super flexes. So sometimes these points get a little bit higher, as we look at this and where Jerry is in the mix. I don't have that in front of me, but I think if I remember right, I think he was in the playoff hunt with his team.
Okay, Clan Head 7, you, Ed, Fantasy Clown, with a 281.16.
And so this is my first time actually jumping in the top spot this year. As we go, and I'm guessing here that I'm in the 9 spot. So I guess my team isn't good. It must have just kind of caught lightning in a bottle here in this one with a 3-5 record in the 9 spot. It's like Justin, you're in the 6 spot, so you're in the playoffs here with that 5-3 record. I'm 2 games behind, so your team must be better than mine overall. I just kind of had a week.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So going over to Clownhead 8, Redneck 88 with a 294.24.
And this is Neck 98. This is the first time in the top spot for Clownhead 8. And it looks like your team is the one to beat here, though. Redneck's in the 5 spot, but you've got the number 1 seed and full game ahead. And so as it stands right now, and you haven't used any waiver money, huh? In this one, you just kind of drafted and said, "Hey, I'm going to just be let's go," and just
yeah. I mean, I really like my team. I'm what about 350 points less than the second place team there. But I mean, my team's clicking, so I'm gonna keep rolling with it.
Yeah, look at that. Like, so everybody has more points than you the whole way down to after 5. The points 4. Like, you just must be coming up against people when they don't play well or something.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's all it takes.
You're playing good defense. That's what it is. Justin has a good defensive team. You have the best defense in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have thought you would be hoarding quarterbacks and playing defense, but are you just playing defense? You're like, no, I'm not hoarding anything. I'm just playing defense. That's all I'm doing. So yeah, so you're in the top spot there, and Clownhead's 9. Let's look at that one.
Clownhead's 9 was the Strike X at a 345.92, and he was the high scorer for out of Clownhead 6 through 9.
Yeah, I mean, kind of amazing. This is the first time that Strike XX has been in the top spot, and he's 8-0. So he's off to a great start, and we didn't have him anywhere as a top team, so that's kind of interesting. How we would miss that, I guess, or the analytics didn't have him there, and he's not only top spot, but he just wins apparently. Just kind of has a good score. So let's take a look at his team.
Absolutely. And so his starting lineup with Josh Allen with 39.31, Austin Eckler 33.05, Tyler Lockett 24.1, Amon-Ra St. Brown 21.3, Komet 39.9, Gus Edwards 37.15, Travis Etienne with a 42.9, Michael Thomas 12.3, Swift 19.9, Hubbard with a 14.15, Kamara 34.25, Kirk Cousins 27.61. Look over his depth here. He's going to run into trouble now. He doesn't have any more quarterbacks to use on his roster at all. So he's going to roll the rest of the year with one quarterback because Kirk Cousins is now on IR. It looks like he has Jamal Williams, Devin Singletary, Zach Charbonnet, KJ Osborne on his bench, Shaheed on his bench there, but he's not going to go weekly with 35.3 points. Herb Smith and Cam Hayward to round up his roster there.
I'm wondering if they'll be able to trade any of those, any of those depth pieces to go get a quarterback. I mean, I wonder if somebody will pony it up. I mean, for someone like me, I'm going to want one of the starters just to make sure that we weaken somewhere else. But we'll see. We'll see if he's able to fire a quarterback somewhere through.
Oh yeah, he's going to have to give up something more than just a little depth, I would think.
Yeah, I mean something that's going to be a piece to play. For the other team to play out somewhere. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of moves are trying to make there.
No, definitely see. Okay, now we're going to go over to our Elite Eight Dynasty League, Division A. Matt Kroc with a 297.34.
So we didn't get to 300 points this week, which is, kind of what we thought, we might be closer to those kind of points. Matt Keurig was a top point getter in week 5 as well. So this is the second time that he was the top point getter in Division A. One game behind the big tournament, as the top 2 teams get to the big tournament. So just one game back. Wolfpack is the defending champ here, so those 2 guys at 7-1, pretty strong records. With 6-2 just kind of falling in behind. This is the league that I play in, and I'm actually 1-7. So just down there with 3 of us in that are all 1-7. So a lot of us with that same record there, kind of bringing up the rear as far as the total points.
Yeah, Division B, C-Jet 437 or 302.67.
And kind of interesting, I wonder how similar the teams are because C-Jet 437 also was the top point getter in week 5, just like Matt Keurig for Division B. So kind of interesting that it's the second time, but it's the same exact weeks. You almost wonder how similar the team must be. In the 4th spot here, 5-3 record, just one game behind 808 Ryden for that second spot in the big tournament. So it looks like it's going to be really tight coming down the stretch for those top 2 teams. Here looks like Justin, you're in the 7th spot, so you're just kind of knocking on the door. Same record as CJ Jet, and yet outside of the playoffs looking in. So we're only one game behind the big tournament. You think you can get to the big tournament?
We'll see. Definitely, we'll see. Maybe the at least my division tournament, but probably not the big tournament.
Well, I mean, you're only one game back, so you only need really, just kind of one game, and then you're record-wise with those guys. So.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I know if I get in a big tournament, it'll be first week knockout more likely.
Well, but you still get paid, so you get paid.
Yeah, it is true.
Getting there, so
get a little money.
Yeah. Never bad to cash. I always say cashing is important.
Division C, the Draft Guru with a 297.28.
Now, the Draft Guru actually had the top point getter in all of Elite 8 in week 5, week 6. So, again, kind of week 5 is when these guys all seem to go off. But the Draft Guru also was the top point getter in Division C in week 3 and then week 7. So, this is the 5th time out of 8 weeks that he's been the top point getter there. And as you can see, he's in the 1 spot, the 1 seat spot, and, poised to go into the big tournament. So really strong there. This one, producer Brad's in this division, so he's in the 8th spot, just kind of right behind. It looks like 2 games behind the divisional tournament here, and Kamish at the 5-3 record.
Excellent. So Division D, Bumskis were at 318.40.
And Bumskis looks like this is the first time in the top spot for Division D. However, 8-0 record, so really poised to go to the big tournament. Looks like Final Four finalist Johnny Ross here in the 2 spot poised to get back to the big tournament as well. So looks like he's well on his way to trying to defend that title and getting into the top spot or the top tournament.
Division E, Phil Rupert were at 308.24.
It's like Phil Rupert actually week 5 again was the top point getter. So I'm really starting to think that these teams must be all similar because of just the way, it seems like these guys are always winning the week 5 and now week 8. Like the same guys must have really scored, a lot of points those two weeks. But Phil Rupert in the number 2 spot, as far as where we are there. Trader Dan looks like he's right on pace there as well, looking to try to get in the big tournament, with the same record as Phil Rupert, and JSL 111, who won this division last year, also with that 6-2 record. So a lot real tight, record wise for those top 2 spots here in this division, with 4 teams in the 6-2 spot.
So Division F had the top point getter for A through H from Elite 8, River AD 9-8 with a 323.94.
Yeah, and River AD really had a big week, and to get over that 300-point threshold, and really solidly. River AD was actually the pick that we had with our analytics at the beginning of the year to be our top finisher. Was the top point getter in week 4, week 6, and now the top overall in the Elite 8 in week 8. So really a strong showing. When we look here in the 4 seed, or the 4 spot. So 1 game behind getting back to the large tournament, and Turkleton and Achilles the Hub, have those 2 spots, currently. We can take a look at their team, the River AD team, and some of the players that propelled them to that top spot.
Absolutely. So Josh Allen, 42.41. Trevor Lawrence, 27.83. Brees Hall, 33.8. Raheem Mercer, 14.35. AJ Brown, 35.5. Drake London, 12 points. Garrett Wilson, 19.85. Watson, 7.3. Johnny Smith, 4.3. Evan Ingram, 38.8. George Kittle, 44.9. Gibbs, 42.9. Look at his bench. He has Brock Purdy there, Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love. So he has a pretty good core of quarterbacks. Jalen Warren there, Daryl Henderson, Shaheed. Matt Wilson, Michael Wilson, wide receiver for Arizona there. See who else? Luke Musgrave, Cade Otton down there as well. So he has some pretty good depth.
And a lot of tight ends. I mean, that's amazing how many tight ends I feel like he has. He's kind of poised with quarterbacks and tight ends. And if you play in these Houndhead leagues, I feel like you need quarterbacks to sustain you because they score so much, and we have so many in. And then tight ends with a 3-point PPR, those seem to be really important pieces to put in those flex spots. And he seems to have figured that out, here well.
Absolutely. So we're Division G, K Quinn 545 at a 319.24.
So Kate Quinn actually got over that 300-point threshold as well. Division G, this is the first time Kate Quinn 545 has been the top point getter in Division G. So just kind of new to this group in the 5 spot right now. So solidly in the divisional playoffs, but one game behind the 6-2 record that would get him in the top spots. 1924 in points. So actually would be, with one more win, would have himself propelled into having a chance to get, into that top spot, because with some tiebreaker edges over Top Flight Hooker and the Dutch Dynasty. So it'll be interesting to see how this shapes out. Barry 587 was the defending champion, so down there at a 2-6 record. So it's pretty safe to say that we probably will have a different champion this year in this league.
Absolutely. So Division H, Cowboy and Utes with a 300.3.
And Cowboy and Utes, actually, back in the top spot, was in the top spot in week 1 and actually a top point getter overall in the Elite 8, and was the preseason pick to finish in first place as well. Looking here at the Cowboys and Utes in the 3 spot, this was our champion of the Elite 8 last year. And so one game behind getting back to the big playoffs and just defending the title. Notice here that you dumbass with an 8-0 record kind of seems now two full wins ahead of place number 2, but 3 full wins ahead of place number 3 and getting knocked out of the big tournament. So, as we're starting to count down here, going to week 9, 9, 10, 11, his magic numbers is decreasing by the minute. So every win, he's about 2 wins away from really putting this thing away and getting there. So that's pretty exciting to see for you dumbass.
Hey, props to him. Keep it going. Division. Now we're gonna head over to our Big 8. Division S, Justin 130998 with a 293.66.
Geez, I read this name and I'm like, am I going to get all the numbers right? But Justin 130998. That's like a tongue twister for me. They were the top point getter in week 2 as well. So this is the second time in that top spot. And looking here, it looks like place number 5 is where this team is with a 5-3 record. And in this division as well, there's an 8-0 team. So, really, a lot of ability to, get up into those top 2 spots. This seems to be, a little bit more challenging, but solidly in the divisional playoffs here with this team.
Division T, Noisy Silence with a 309.14.
So Noisy was able to get over that 300-point threshold. Was the top point getter also week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So those first 4 weeks, Noisy Silence was the top point getter in this division, top point getter overall in week 2, and now returning in week 8 as well. So Noisy Silence, 7-1 record, kind of running away with things with that top spot. But Jaybird in the 3 spot, only 1 game behind. So, I mean, it's not a sure thing, but, it looks like, starting the stretch run here and trying to get to that big playoffs.
Division U, J Mule, the 292.52.
Jay Mule actually in the top spot week 2, week 3, week 7, week 8. So this is the 4th time, and the top point getter overall in week 3. So, really putting together a strong season in the 2 spot solidly. And when we start to look at points, with 2,100 points, they're way ahead of everybody else and have all the tiebreakers. As long as they can maintain a tie for those top 2 spots, this team looks in pretty good shape to head out to the big playoffs, without having too many more punts go on. I see that Trader Dan is in this division, so with a 3-5 record, so seems to be kind of on the outside of all the playoff hunt, even the divisional playoffs looking in.
Excellent. we're gonna go with Division V. Tim Nilsson with a 279.67.
Man, Tim Nelson, first time in the top spot here in Division D, and just taking a peek at where Tim Nelson is, look the whole way down at the 10 spot. So this is kind of like a lightning in the bottle situation as well. I do see that Tim Nelson spent all the waiver fab money, so not a lot of room to be able to kind of recover, if you will, in this division either. But great 1 week performance though. That's how you start a run. Looks like Danny Nichols with an 8-0 record going to be tough to beat here in this one, and then Brick and SB Sherman are really fighting over the 2 spot, and they're only 6 points apart in their total points score. So it's going to come down to who plays the best down the stretch, I presume.
Absolutely. Division W, G-Town Baseball 22 with a 285.48.
And G-Town Baseball 22 actually was our preseason favorite to win this division. Was the top point getter week 4, week 7, and returning in week 8. So, really been a 3-time, top point getter here. G-Town Baseball in the 3 spot, 1 game behind picks 1 and 2, or place 1 and 2. So kind of solidly in the divisional playoffs, but has a little bit of work to do get into those top 2 spots.
Absolutely. Division X, JSL 111 with a 309.28.
Looking at JSL 111, looks like this is the second time in the top spot. Week 7, week 8, what was the top point getter, 7-1 record. So solidly in the top few spots in that big tournament. 1 game ahead of Johnny Ross or Dirty Sanchez. So that's what we have in this particular division, and so it'll be interesting to see how JSL 111 fares getting to that big tournament.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to go over to my division, Division Y, Slippy Nanner with a 302.10, and he was a high point getter for division the Big 8 division this week.
This was our top point getter. Actually, our preseason favorite to win this division was the top point getter in this division in week 1, also in week 6, and now in week 8. So a 3-time before being the top point getter overall in the Big 8. Slippy Nanner, 7-1 record in the 2 spot, 2 full games ahead of spot 3. So looks like Nick Merkel and Slippy Nanner are well poised to be the representatives in the big tournament. Looks like, Justin, you're 4-4, so you're just tied for that 5th and 6th spot as well. So you can definitely get into the playoffs, divisional playoffs here, and point wise, right there in the same game, just about 60 points behind. So definitely a doable thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And now we're gonna pull up and look at his roster that he played this week. This past week he went with Russell Wilson with a 28.56, Barkley 28.3, Stephon Diggs 18, Tyreek Hill 31.7, Evan Ingram 38.8, Keenan Allen 16.4, Joe Mixon 28, Aaron Jones 13.85, Gus Edwards 37.15, DeMarcado, running back from Arizona, 15.9, Josh Dobbs with a 31.42, Justin Herbert 34.02.
Yeah, it looks like a team that can, is poised to win. But I do think looking at some of the depth, it's up and down. I guess I'm not convinced that it's going to be enough to carry on long term. But
absolutely.
What do we have? Division Z. Yeah, is that our next?
Marshall Gore at 288.5.
Looking at Marshall Gore, it looks like the top point getter in week 3, in week 5, in week 6, in week 7, and now again in week 8 was our top point getter overall in the Big 8 last week in week 7. So really, kind of on a stretch run here where starting to pull away. 2 full games up on the third place team, and so the number 1 seed on the way out here. So poised to be in that big tournament, and really strong showing from Marshall Gore. So it'll be interesting to see how this team does. I'm the whole way down in the 11th spot here with 2-6 record. So kind of bringing up the rear, if you will. As we kind of get through year number 1 of these 2 super flex leagues. So this is definitely kind of a different scoring. I know, Justin, you're really suggested this scoring, and so as we look back, we're halfway through the whole football season. What do you think of the scoring in the positions with the 2 super flexes? Has it made it quite challenging, do you think?
A little bit, especially since if you don't have enough quarterbacks to start weekly, it makes it a little more difficult to put up the points to continue winning, unless you just really went hard and deep and for the wide receivers and have a few running backs. As long as you have 3 or 4 running backs, you can absolutely continually rotate them in there. Um, Another key thing is the 3-point PPR for the tight ends. So if you have a couple of the better tight ends that are consistent week to week, you're going to keep putting up the points. Absolutely. And it's my favorite roster setup.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at kind of comparing the Elite 8 to the Big 8, and our top point getter in the Elite 8 was 323, and our top point getter in the Big 8 was 322. So even though the rosters are set up a little differently, I feel like the points are virtually the same. I mean, we're 1 point off. Now, when we look at the Clownheads 1 through 5, and then the Clownheads 6 through 9, there was a little bit more disparage this week. With Clownhead, or I'm sorry, with one being right around 345, and then the other top score at 291. But I almost wonder, if we're going to find that as time goes on, whether the scores tend to go down, the top scores, or if scores as time goes on, scores to tend to go up in the same week. So I mean, I guess I almost wonder if there's not more to do with how long the team has been in existence as opposed to the lineup settings, making a difference in the score. So I think you're onto it. I actually kind of, as I was looking at these scores over the course of several weeks, I was sort of amazed at how the scores tended to be higher in the setup that you made, and how it's given more flexibility so that it wasn't near as rigid, keeping the scores down. And let's face it, we want offense. In fantasy football, you kind of want those 300-point scores. Like, that's what the fun of fantasy football is. I know we said you had that good defensive team, but really the goal is to really have lots and lots of points. I mean, that's where the excitement is really driven from. So just kind of my observations going on, but yeah, I think we play a little bit this week. I think we're back to playing each other a couple times this week, so we'll have to have some trash talking amongst ourselves. I know I played producer Brad this week as well, so yeah, a lot of head-to-head games that we have going on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know I'm gonna try to in a couple of my leagues I go against the number 1 team in the league, and I'm gonna try my. It's not a very good team, but I'm gonna try to knock them out of that first place spot there.
Nice for you. I'm looking ahead, and I'm actually getting a little bit of a later start this week at just setting lineups, and I was setting some lineups tonight, and I was like, man, I Did you make a lot of waiver wire moves this week, or is it just me that didn't make any waiver wire moves?
I tried to go after a couple of rookie quarterbacks that were available out there. Most all the leagues they were already taken. I tried to go with the couple of best ball leagues to pick up a quarterback that I desperately need them with 3 and 5 and 1 and 7, I think, and then and another one. So didn't land either one of them. So my road's a little tough this week.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel like, I mean, I know, industry wise, a lot of people are making waiver pickups, but I find myself, I don't know if I put any in this week. Like, I mean, in our leagues, how deep they are, there's no quarterbacks. Like, none of these quarterbacks were on the waiver wire that are starting. So that wasn't really a thing. But unless DeVito starts, I guess he would be the one guy that would be available probably a couple places, if you were to get the nod. But beyond, DeVito, I felt like there wasn't much there. I found myself picking up Laviska Shenault, so that's been my flavor of the week. So we'll see if that ever turns into anything. But yeah, that's kind of the guy that I picked up this week, just on the DL. So we'll see if that amounts to anything. I wanted to get that on tape that I picked him up in case he blows up, then it makes sense. So.
I think it's very slim that he does, considering he's with fourth, fifth, maybe even sixth wide receiver there. Also down there on the depth chart for a running back, unless they ding Bigsby for after this fumbles that he had this past week. So definitely see it.
Well, so he's actually on Carolina, and they're using him in kind of like the Debo type of role. So they are kind of using him as a running back. They're running some jet sweeps with him, and I guess I was just unsure with if what they're doing with Miles Sanders. It's more of a ploy of, okay, are they really? Is Miles Sanders hurt, or has he lost a step, and they're going to just give four carries to Shenault? I mean, and if they give him 4 carries, does he break one? Like that's, that. I feel like he could have a Gibson role if it goes really well. Like that feels like the ceiling to me, but I guess that's what I'm $0 fab bid bet. that's what that is. And as we're talking about that, Noah Brown, Texans guy, is another guy that I kind of picked up recently. I don't really know the path to play, just that he's projected to get a lot of points, and I feel like he got points when he was with the Cowboys. Like he got some quiet receptions. So we'll just see. I mean, like I said, I'm not sure if I understand the path to play. Tank Dell, Richie, Woods, I think is out, but yeah, I mean, I feel like there's Nico Collins. I feel like there's a lot of mouths to feed ahead of him on a bad offense, but we'll see what happens with him. So those are the real deep stashes that I guess I'm chasing this week.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess that's week 8 in the books. Looking forward to week 9, and I think it's fair to say it's getting late quickly, or it's getting late early. It really is getting late in the season, and yeah. Do you have any? When does your first playoff week start in your leagues?
Most of them start, pretty much all of them start week 15.
I guess you're
15,
in Ring
16.
of Fire. You're in Ring of Fire with me, right?
Oh yeah. So
that
14.
one starts week 12. So kind of knowing that's coming up. I'm not in the playoffs there. Like this will be my first year of not being in the playoffs. I thankfully sold a whole bunch of players and got a bunch of first round picks. So at least I'm going to be making some selections in the rookie draft. But yeah, so that playoff is coming up soon. Like I feel like if we're in week 9 and that starts week 12, we're not far away from seeing what happens in that playoff situation. So excited for that. Yeah, the rest of mine all start in I have one in week 14, and then everybody else in week 15. So that's kind of what we're looking at.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess we'll sign off for now. Thanks for coming on, Justin, and all the breakdowns. And you know, definitely, exciting time to be playing in fantasy football and ready for another eventful week. And we'll see you guys all next time.